are you excited to see Kamala in office? And they were like, oh yeah, we're so excited to have her, whatever. And then he goes, what's the most impressive thing that you think she's accomplished as VP? And they're like, none of them have an answer.
That's hilarious.
And it's like, but I hope those people go home and go, I am excited for someone who's done absolutely nothing, right? That doesn't make sense.
All right, guys, Lindsey Graham here, AKA the Patriot Barbie. Thanks for coming in today.
Yeah, thank you. Hey, good excuse to come to Vegas, right?
Absolutely. And you ran into Trump. So.
That's right. I'm at the Trump Hotel. And the only reason I'm there is because I want to support the guy, right? We get there and Secret Service is all there. So I'm like, dude, Trump is actually here.
Yeah.
And I live in Arizona. So he's supposed to be speaking in Arizona tomorrow. So I had no idea that I was leaving town, but I'm going to run into him hopefully anyway.
Right. So were they literally at the front door when you got there?
Yeah, they were. So we Ubered in, and they're pulling over every single car and like scanning the cars.
Damn.
You can't go up in and like drop people off at the hotel. You have to drop them off on the street.
Whoa.
And then you go through metal detectors to get into the hotel, and you have to scan your card to get to your room. Like it's intense.
Holy crap.
Actually, the famous photo of Trump being nearly assassinated. There's that one guy wearing glasses, and he's holding him.
Yeah.
That guy is having breakfast at the at the hotel. And I'm like, my husband is wearing the fight shirt that we created with that picture. And I pointed to my husband's shirt. And I'm like, is that you? He's like, maybe.
That's hilarious.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty nuts.
So cool.
I was in West Palm last month, and even local police were just on the street, every street.
Gosh. Yeah.
Near Mar-a-Lago.
Why weren't they that diligent before he was almost killed? Like,
Right.
we know that nobody wants this guy to run our country, or at least the evil half, right? I just feel like the fact that this happened is scary.
Yeah, and I just had Tulsi on earlier. She said there was another guy trying to kill him like yesterday at one of his rallies.
Yeah,
he had to leave early.
Well, and he's like a sex offender, so
Crazy.
sex offenders are trying to kill him. That's how you know that they're the bad side.
Yeah. Speaking of sex offenders, Child Protective Services went after you. Mm-hmm. What was that about?
Oh, what was that about? Doing hair. Imagine that. So 2020, right? The lockdowns that were 2 weeks to flatten the curve, and then another 2 weeks, another 2 weeks. I am most known for that fight. I opened my salon against the lockdowns in 2020, and I was probably the third person in America. And I mean, immediately when I opened, the threats started coming from all of the agencies. We're going to kick you out of your building. We're going to take away your business license. We're going to take away your hair license. We are going to fine you $50,000 a day.
Jeez.
Class D misdemeanor. And then 48 hours into opening my salon to do hair, Child Protective Services came and searched my house, interviewed I think he was 3 at the time, 2020, yeah. My 3-year-old son, Trigger, without me present. Totally, like bombarded my husband and I with questions. All of it based on the fact that I was doing hair against the lockdowns, like threatening to take my kids. They literally handed me the paperwork on the way out the door. Here are your rights if we remove your children from your home.
That's insane.
Yeah.
So they went inside your house and interviewed your kids?
Mm-hmm. Yep. They literally interrogated us. Like, they had me sit down privately and they asked me all these really weird questions about our home. And then they had my husband leave the room. And then they had him come in and they had me leave the room and they interrogated him. And then they took our son, Trigger, and they interviewed him privately, which I found later is totally illegal. Like, I tried to stay in the room.
Because he's 3 years old. That's the minor.
Yeah. I mean, and they shut the door and I'm like, it kills me as a parent to know that I allowed that. Looking back now, it's totally illegal and I know my rights and I would never let them in my house again.
Did they have a warrant or did
nope.
they just walk in?
Nope. I mean, really, like, people need to know this. You don't have to let them in. They knock at your door and they say, we're from CPS and we're here to investigate. You can just shut the door and say, call my lawyer.
Really?
Like, you do not have to let them in. They're not cops. They're not
good to
the
know.
FBI. They're not CIA. They're not government. I mean, they are government, but...
Well, even cops, they need a warrant.
Yeah, you do not have to let them in your house, and I should not have. But to me, I was like, I am a law-abiding citizen. There's nothing wrong with this home. Come on in, take a look.
You were so
you're going to
innocent.
find nothing. Yeah. And, in hindsight, I wish I would have known my rights. And so it's really important that parents know the government will weaponize, agencies against you if you defy them. And we are far from, especially if Kamala gets elected, far from the overreach of tyranny. Right? If they would send CPS after my kids for doing freaking hair, what else are they going to weaponize against you? So it's really important that parents know and people know where your rights lie so that you can't be bullied by the government.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Have you always been pretty right-leaning?
No.
Oh, really?
No. I actually love it because, I was very not political before 2020. Like really not. Like I don't even know if I voted for our governors, didn't vote for city council, like didn't vote. Probably voted for presidents. I know that I voted for Obama in 2008. I was like, whatever, black president. Like totally just checked out politically.
Right.
Voted for Trump in 2016 because I was a business person and I was like, he's a great businessman. And 2020 just really, like a lot of people opened my eyes. I saw the divide because when I opened my salon, it wasn't political. And I didn't know the Constitution. I wasn't like, this was my constitutional right. I just knew that it was wrong for my government to tell me I couldn't make money, that they were going to give me money if I stayed closed and stayed home. And I've always worked hard for my businesses and my life and my income. So I reopened and I actually thought, well, no one would disagree with this, right? Like we all agree as a country that the government shouldn't do this, that we should have a right to work. I'm going to get support from everyone.
Right.
And then I learned that was not true. So when I saw severe like praise and support coming from the right, and then even more severe hate, threats, and violence from the left, I was like, this is political. Like one side believes I shouldn't work and I should obey, and the other side thinks I'm a hero.
Right.
So I was just like, whoa, this is very, very eye-opening. And that's how I became more of a political activist.
Yeah. So did you end up paying those COVID fines or?
No, I got a $14,000 fine from Oregon OSHA. Spent, I don't know, $30,000 trying to fight it.
Damn.
Yeah, finally said 2 years ago, dude, I don't want to pay attorney's fees anymore. Like they're not going to admit that they were wrong.
Right.
They have no evidence that I had employees there because I didn't. And now I'm paying to defend myself against a fine that's even less than what I'm paying in attorney fees. So I'm just ignoring it. I'm like not paying it.
It's like a parking ticket.
Yeah, they put it on my taxes as like a other fine, and they're trying to garnish my bank accounts.
Damn.
Yeah, and I'm like, you know what? Go for it. You can garnish it. There's nothing I can do, but I will not. I will not pay it. I will not admit that I did anything wrong. So if you take it from me, there's nothing I can do. But I'm not going to willingly give it to you.
Yeah. Well, now they're going after businesses that fired people that refused the vaccine, and they're getting all their back pay.
Yeah.
Which is great.
Yeah. So like justice, there's justice happening. I still feel like, and I hope when Trump gets into office again, there is justice, not for me. I don't care. I'm doing fine. But for all of the businesses that lost their whole livelihood during the lockdowns, like people's retirements were wrapped up in their business and they lost everything.
Right.
They had to go get a 9-to-5 job. And so there needs to be something for those people that sacrificed everything for that.
Yeah, restaurants got wrecked. I remember
Yep.
you had to show your card to eat at restaurants.
Yep. Remember how dumb it was in California that they were like, you can't eat inside. You can only eat outside. So then they started building buildings outside.
Yeah.
And you're like, when does this become inside again?
Yeah. The mask thing never made sense to me.
Nope.
Like you order with a mask and then when you eat, you take it off.
Right. And you can
gotta
walk
put
to
it
your
back on.
table wearing a mask, but you can take it off when you sit down. Like it doesn't travel from the, my gosh.
Mind blowing. Were you wearing masks during the pandemic?
No, like I did in some of the press conferences, and then I'd talk, so I'm like, well, I'm gonna pull it down.
Yeah.
And it was really all for show. Like I didn't believe that they worked. And when I reopened my salon, I didn't make any of my stylists wear masks.
Wow.
I didn't have any of the customers wear masks. In fact, we had customers leaving because they were like, none of you guys are wearing masks. And we're like, no.
Damn.
You can wear one if you want, but I'm not gonna wear one.
Yeah.
There was people walking by my salon taking pictures. She's maskless. Because in Oregon, it was, even when I was open against the lockdowns, they wanted us to wear masks, but they made mask mandates, like not a law, obviously. They made a mandate where you had to wear a mask outside in Oregon. Like that's how extreme they were. And for months and months, I was like, I'm not doing that either. So people were taking my pictures. She's not wearing a mask in her salon. Go find her. And they really, they couldn't, I think it's important that people recognize they really couldn't uphold some of the things that they did.
Right.
In one hand, I'm telling you, I got a $14,000 fine. It's not legal. I'm not paying it, whatever. But on the other hand, I'm not wearing a mask. And Oregon, I think it's Health Authority, came in and did an inspection of my salon, randomly, of course, right? And he says, I noticed that you're not wearing a mask. You know that there's a mask mandate, right? And I go, huh? He goes, why aren't you wearing a mask? I go, health issues. He goes, okay. Like, that's it. You cannot prove otherwise, and this isn't a law. So it's like the whole salon is sitting there going, she's going to get busted. She won't even put it on when Oregon Health Authority is here. And I just said, I have health issues. I can't wear one.
Yeah.
And it's like he couldn't do anything to dispute that. It's my word against the
Right.
stupid magical mandate. And so, you know, and I didn't wear a mask to airports or anything. And
Really?
I was like one in, 2,000 people not wearing a mask. I'd look around, everyone's wearing a mask with me. People would come up to me, how do you get away with not wearing a mask? I'm like, because I don't wear one. Well, don't you get in trouble? I'm like, do I look arrested to you? Do I look kicked out? Their security walked by. They told me to put a mask on. I said, okay. And kept not wearing one. And it still didn't encourage people to take theirs off.
Crazy.
Yeah, it was so sad to me. I'm like, I'm gonna stand here and show you guys that I'm expressing my freedom. I'm not getting arrested for it. I'm not being handcuffed. I'm not being dragged out of the airport. And you still can't find the courage to do it yourself.
Yeah, they instilled so much fear in people. People were scared to act up.
Yep.
I remember being on planes, asleep,
Yep.
and the stewardess would wake me up
Yep.
to tell me to put on a mask.
Yeah. Isn't that stupid?
Crazy.
Yeah. Oh, I hated that. We did that too. I would have to comply, right? At some point when you get on the plane, you have to wear it to get on the plane. I'm like, okay, put it on, take it down in the jetway, get on the plane, put it up, take it down. Like, to me, it wasn't, I'm going to change the world and I'm going to get kicked off of the plane and go to jail for this. But to me, it was, I truly believe that this is dangerous for my health. To wear this and just breathe in my own like bacteria and oxygen that's, messed up and circulating inside a nasty mask, it's not healthy for me. And so I will do as little as I can to restrain my own healthy habits.
Right.
So I would comply for the sake of like, I'll do it to get on the stupid plane, but I'm taking it down when I can because I believe it's not healthy for me.
Yep. And now there's new studies on their effectiveness, and it's pretty close to zero, it seems like.
Yep.
Plus the 6 feet thing was total BS.
Yep. And people are still going to fall for it again. Or there are still people, unfortunately.
With the monkeypox coming up.
Yeah, yeah. Ooh, we're on high alert.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Any disease that I see on the media these days, I'm like.
Do you remember the what was it, like killer bees or something? In 2020?
I remember the swine flu. Was that from pigs or something?
Oh gosh, they did that too. But like somewhere in 2020, they also said, because people were starting to like open up and we don't believe your crap, they were like, killer yellow jackets. I mean, it was like a 1 month thing. I think it didn't work. People were like, oh gosh, here we go. Killer yellow jackets are coming. They did that too. And I was like, oh my word. So now we're not supposed to leave the house because we could get stung by killer yellow jackets.
Crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Who
That was a
knows what
crazy
they'll pull
time.
next? They're going to get desperate with this election coming up, I think. So there's going to be all sorts of wild stuff.
Yep, yep. So the question is, who will comply?
Right.
Who's gonna fall
I think
for it
people
again?
are smarter this time around, so I'm pretty
hope so.
hopeful. But we'll see, because you go on Twitter and it's craziness.
Really? Like what?
Like my feed's pretty right leaning, but there are people that actually support Kamala. I've never met one in person, but
Yeah, that's crazy.
know
Did you
what I mean?
see, I think it was James Klug. He went around to different people on the street. You know, I love those street reporters. They say, answer this question, and then they catch them.
Yep.
And all he said is, are you excited to see Kamala in office? And they were like, oh yeah, we're so excited to have her, whatever. And then he goes, what's the most impressive thing that you think she's accomplished as VP? And they're like, none of them have an answer.
That's hilarious.
And it's like, okay, I hope that's great content, but I hope those people go home and go, I am excited for someone who's done absolutely nothing, right? That doesn't make sense.
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, very
So I
entertaining.
saw, the reason I wanted you on the show actually is because you got banned off Facebook.
Yeah.
So I hit you up the next day. So what
Yeah.
happened there?
All right. Well, you got to wonder, did someone do it? Was it a compiled liberal leftist tactic? I don't know. All my businesses are attached to my Lindsey Graham, not a page, like my Facebook that I've had for, 20 years, 25 years. Clearly it's me. It's got all my pregnancies and my birth of my kids and my marriage. Like, it's not a fake account. It got flagged for fraud and deception. So I'm like, how did that happen out of nowhere that this account would be called fraudulent? So it got flagged for fraud and deception. Excuse me. I went to appeal it. And when you appeal it, it says take a photo. So I took a selfie. And within 10 seconds, it was denied.
Wow.
I'm like, nobody in the world saw my selfie in 10 seconds and was like, nope, that's not her. So it was like, they weren't going to renew it no matter what. But because all of my business pages were attached to that Facebook, and this doesn't make sense either, right? So Pretty Little Patriot, which is my fashion brand, the Patriot Barbie Shop, which is my merch, and what was the other one? My Freedom Cart, which is my network marketing company. Those 3 pages are all Meta. So they have a Facebook and an Instagram attached, each one. Those were attached to my personal page. So I saw that my personal page got taken down. And then over the next hour, 2 hours, Pretty Little Patriot Instagram got wiped. My Freedom Cart wiped. And Patriot Barbie Shop wiped. Not the Facebook, just the Instagram, which makes no sense because they were all connected. And not that I'm wishing this upon myself, but I'm like, why didn't you wipe all of it? They kept the Facebooks up, but deleted the Instagram. So I just sat there and watched all of my pages disappear, like gone, like they never existed. But praise the Lord, we have connections, and someone knew someone at Meta that told them this happened, and I don't think it's legit. Will you look into it? They did. They looked into it, and they were like, this was a domino effect of this one fraudulent Facebook page, which is not fraudulent, and they restored everything.
Oh, thank God.
My gosh. Like,
'cause those are all your businesses.
Yeah. So 48 hours later, and it's not even, woe is me, I lost my pages. You can rebuild pages, but you lose all of the years of work that you've put into that page, all of the content you created. You lose the followers, yes, but then you lose the rights to that name also.
Right.
Like we had Pretty Little Patriot, which is our fashion brand. Now we got to go come up with a new name, Pretty.Little.Patriot or whatever. Yeah. and it's just like, it was, I feel like it's so first world, but I'm also like, it was really devastating to lose.
Yeah.
And for me to lose my Facebook, which was, again, my wedding, my pregnancies, the birth of my kids, all of that documented on a personal Facebook, to have that just deleted was personally devastating for me too.
Absolutely.
So I'm like, I was crying happy tears when they gave them back.
I love it. Yeah. Speaking on kids, you've confronted school boards in the past. So were those school boards the boards that your children were going to, those schools?
Nope, actually no. The left says to me specifically, why are you even here? Your kids don't even go to this school. Like, mind your own business. And I think that that's such a horrible ideology. Like, I can only care about my kids. My kids are in a private school because I don't trust public schools at all.
Right.
And I was told in my city, which is very small, that there was a man who is 72 years old, dressing like a woman, sitting on the school board. Now, if he was sitting on the school board, minding his own business, whatever. But he made a point, and this is very predatorial in my opinion, he made a point of always going to the classrooms to visit, going to the spelling bees, going to the events, going to the carnivals, going to the fundraisers, and he's hovering over these children wearing a dress and pearl earrings and saying, call me Miss Bixler. Like, he is not a female, but he's using the little girls' restrooms at the events.
What?
Yeah, not at the school, but at the events. So, like, let's say there's a fundraiser carnival for the school, and he's on the board, so he's overseeing a whole district, not just one school.
Dang.
And these are all elementary schools, middle schools, high schools. And he goes to the carnival, and a mother told me that she went into the female restroom and he was in there. So I'm like, dude, that's not okay.
Did you go to the restroom?
I wish. Actually, there is more to that. There is. So I say, I'm going to go speak up against this guy at the school board meeting. I'd never spoken at a school board meeting ever. And it was November or something. So I happened to have a cat costume laying around because I was a cat for Halloween. And I said, the idea that he thinks he can put on a dress and earrings and like grow his hair out and call himself a woman is the same as me putting on this cat costume. And because I have the accessories, saying I'm actually a cat, right? If you want to dress like a woman, whatever, if it doesn't affect anybody else. But now you're trying to say you're a woman, and that's not fair. So I put on the cat costume, went to the school board all by myself, didn't know anybody, and gave the speech that you see now has gone viral multiple times. My name is Lindsey Graham, and I'm a cat. And it was a very good speech. The emotion was out. The hate speech was not there. It was just common sense. You cannot put on a costume of something and then say that you are that thing. And so that man again, 72 years old, lived his full life as a man, all of a sudden decides he's a woman, all of a sudden decides he's going to pose as a woman to these poor little 5-year-old kids. I find out through this video going viral that he actually goes to the same gym as I do.
Wow.
Yeah. And that he uses the men's locker room at the gym.
What?
So I'm like, okay, hold on. So you'll admit you're a man because you'll use the men's locker room at the gym, but you're going to use the girls' restroom at the elementary school events? That is vile, disgusting, and scary. So I'm on full alert at the gym, and I'm thinking, I'm going to videotape him going into the men's locker room, and then I'm going to show the school board, look, he admits he's still a man. Well, I'm in the locker room undressing one day, and he's in the locker room, the women's locker room, with me, topless. So I turn around and I look at him, and I'm like, there's nothing in me that's afraid of this man. I just am like, thank God that I'm a grown woman. If this were a 12-year-old girl in here undressing and he's there and he does not look like a woman, I mean, there's no passing for this guy. She would be terrified. So I called 911 and I said, there's a man in the women's locker room. And, you know, it's a hard thing to do because there's so much like gray area now with how people look. Yeah. And there's no gender norms.
When was this?
This was January of 2023, I think.
Okay.
So
like
3 months after I spoke against him at the school board.
Got it.
Yeah. And I called 911. Cops came. I went on Instagram Live and said, I just called the cops. This is what we have to do. And he was still working out at the gym. So the cops went and approached him. And I videotaped the whole thing. And here's where it gets really, really scary. He actually had his driver's license changed to female.
What? No way.
Yeah. I went and looked up the laws. And if you go to the DMV with some kind of medical proof that you've undergone a surgery or you say you're a woman, or I don't even know what the proof would be. It just says you have medical proof that you can change your driver's license. So do you remember how the left used to say, oh, gender and sex are different?
Yeah.
Now it's like, no, they're not. You're literally saying he is a female, not he's a woman or he's identifying as a woman. You're saying he is a female, which is just scientifically not true.
Wow.
So he was allowed to be in the women's locker room. And there was nothing the cops could do about it. Yeah.
That's nuts.
So threw a little bit of a fit about that. And then I did one thing to this guy. I videotaped him leaving the women's locker room. And I said, what did I even say? Why do you use the women's locker room sometimes and the men's locker room sometimes if you're a woman? And he turned around, he said, please leave me alone. And that's it. He took me to court and filed a harassment lawsuit against me and won.
What?
Never called the guy, never have gone to his house, never interacted with him, recorded him one time at the gym when he was in my locker room. He won. And so he has a restraining order against me. So if I continue to use the women's locker room at my gym and he's in there, he could like fabricate a story about me. He could say that I called him a name. He could say that I took a swing at. He could say whatever he wanted, and I would literally go to jail. I'd be arrested.
Crap.
So I had to stop using my gym. I had to go find a new gym.
Damn.
Yeah. So ironically, my attorney is supposed to hear like today that his case will not be upheld because we appealed it. And there's no legal evidence that he could have obtained a harassment injunction against me. None.
Yeah, I wonder how he won that with no proof.
A liberal judge, I'm guessing. Yeah. Crazy. And I represented myself, which is a bad idea. I didn't realize how extreme it was.
I didn't know people at that age were changing genders because I see it in younger people. But 72 is the oldest I've heard, actually.
Yep. I mean, there is no way that you can even justify saying, I felt wrong my whole life. Like, he got married. He's been married for 50 years, has kids. Like,
what?
Yeah, I mean, you're not.
And his wife's cool with this?
She died. So when she died is actually when he started living his real self.
Wow.
But I actually think, obviously, mentally, emotionally, something got triggered there.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, his kids are okay with calling him mom now instead of dad. It's, very weird. Very weird. But so yeah, now I'm fighting a lawsuit over a man using the women's locker room at my gym.
Wow. You need to start a GoFundMe for that.
Well, I did. Yeah, I did. I did a Give, Send, Go because GoFundMe deplatformed me.
Oh, they did?
Yeah. Give,
so
Send, Go.
they're owned by the left too then?
They are. Yeah. Yeah. Don't ever use GoFundMe. They actually removed, when I was fundraising in 2020 for my salon fine.
Yeah.
They deplatformed me and they sent some of my donations back to people.
What? Wow.
Yeah. Like I think $10,000 worth. So I switched to Give, Send, Go. And I did. I had a lot of people on my Instagram support me with this lawsuit. And so it's actually paid for my attorney fees. But if we are able to get this overturned, I actually could have a legal case to sue him for suing me.
Oh, what's that
illegally.
called?
What's that?
What would that be called? What's that charge?
I don't know. I have to ask my attorney. I'm just like, update me when you can. It's like not even a priority. I'm trying not to think about it.
The legal system after what they did to Trump, it's like, wow, this is rigged beyond belief.
It's scary.
It's crazy.
Yep. And then giving rights to a man to use a women's locker room and like punishing the woman.
Yeah. And this was in Oregon?
No, this is in Arizona.
Oh, Arizona.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yep. So 2023, I've lived in Arizona since 2020. Okay. So yeah, this is all happening in Arizona where, we moved to a red state for freedom but the decline of the country is happening everywhere. It's like it's a disease, it's spreading. You can run to Florida, you can run to Texas, but eventually it's going to catch up. We just have to fight it.
Because all the people in Cali are going everywhere.
Yep. They're coming to Arizona.
Spreading. And the illegals coming in. So it's just getting attacked from multiple angles.
Yep. So we can't run. We have to like face it head on and fight. I really believe that's where we're at.
How's the border over there?
Well, you can see a lot more crime happening. We're like right on I'm not right on the border, but hours from it. So you can start to see like a culture change. You can see language change. Like we watch TV and the commercials are in Spanish. I'm like, it's weird. I live in America. A lot more crime. It's really scary. Like I have small kids and again, I believe in my Second Amendment rights. I can protect myself, but I'm worried for what we're leaving our children if we don't fight this.
Yeah, they're being exposed to a lot.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Like between social media and the news.
Yep. Media, public schools.
Yeah, schools. They could easily be influenced.
Yeah.
Public schools are probably the worst, actually.
Yeah. Oh my gosh! Don't even get me started.
Yeah.
You got men dressing as women hovering over your child. Get them out.
Yeah, I caught the tail end of it, but it's gotten way worse. I feel like since I've been there.
Yeah. When did you graduate?
2015 high school.
Okay. Yeah, I went to public school, and I'm like, I was fine. I mean, I was raised in a Christian home, like very confident in our beliefs and our our morality and our values. I don't remember at all ever like my senses going off being like, that's weird. Why are you teaching us that?
Right.
Like there was no Black Lives Matter. There was no gender crap. There was no, racial stuff. And now I'm like, whoa, it went downhill really fast over the last 20 years.
Yeah, they never touched on politics in mine.
Yeah.
They just taught dumb topics, but other than that, it wasn't terrible.
Yeah.
Now they're pushing all these agendas.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
And now you wonder too, if you're so wrapped up in teaching kids these things, critical race theory and blah, 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 like what are they learning? Are they actually learning anything real and tangible that they can take into their life as an adult? Like mathematics and science. And if you can't even trust the science now. If you're literally saying men can be women and men can give birth and all this crap, then what are you really learning in science? Are the kids even, I'd rather my kids, if we couldn't Arizona has school choice. So our private school is paid for. If I couldn't afford private school or we didn't have school choice, I tell my followers, I would rather pull my kid and have them be more dumb, if you will, than an educated child and go to heaven and know that they're not going to cut off their genitals later. Like that's more important to me than, some kind of algebra that you might never ever use in your life again.
Never. Like
your soul and who you are and your knowing your worth as a human is way more important than any kind of education.
Absolutely.
So yeah, I would fail miserably at homeschooling because I couldn't do it. But
it's too much work. Yeah, that's a full-time job. But private school is a good alternative.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, but even history class, like I'm looking back at what they taught in that, and a lot of it's not accurate.
Nope, they've changed all the history books. Yeah.
It's written in a biased way.
Yeah. Yep.
It's pretty crazy.
People send me photos of like, oh, my kid came home with this history book, and it just shows like what you're saying, a complete, almost like a media twist of the actual history to make it look like America is this horrible, racist country. And they're actually teaching the kids to hate our own country.
Really?
Oh my gosh, yeah, which is why you see at the DNC, like they're burning the flags out on the sidewalk.
Oh, I didn't see that.
Oh, they are. It's so sad. I'm like, I would probably get murdered because I would run up and take that flag and run with it. Like they would maul me.
Crazy.
I couldn't watch that. It's so sad.
Did you go to the RNC?
I did not, no. I wish I did. Next year.
Yeah, it looked packed there. The DNC looked pretty empty.
I know. It's because I don't know. There's nothing to be excited about the DNC. Like, it's not like they're a happy party. They're like a party of death and depression and poor me, everything.
Yeah. The speech is just, the energy didn't feel the same with their speeches versus the RNC.
No, I tried not to listen because it's like I just want to jump through the TV and
Right.
I don't want to say it. And strangle these people, but.
What else are you working on?
We the Studios. We talked about that a little bit. Man, that's the coolest thing. So, I've been in this political movement for about 4 years, kind of like waiting for God to show me what all is going to come.
Yeah.
And I've partnered with Curtis and Carolia Pardo. They are Hollywood producers. She was a reality and commercial producer. He was a movie producer in Hollywood. They left in 2013 because they started to ask them to do series on pronoun kids.
Wow.
2013. Yes.
Whoa.
Yeah.
That's early.
And they were like, what is a pronoun kid? So they saw the wokeism happening. They left and moved to Florida and said, we'll get back into this space when the time is right, when we can do it our way, when Hollywood burns down. And Curtis says, Hollywood is burning. You can watch it in real time. Everything's falling apart over there. And so I partnered with them and we launched We the Studios, which is America's first non-woke streaming platform. So think of other really big streaming platforms, reality, cooking, home shows, hunting shows, fishing shows, like normal TV, talk shows, late night, but just not the BS, not the crap, not the indoctrination, not the perfectly plugged, trans person or it's just good, wholesome, normal TV. Right. They call it TV for normal people. We've already recorded many series that are getting ready to drop September 3rd.
Nice. Is that on YouTube or?
No, it's on their platform.
Oh, okay.
So it's just like you would go to, I'm gonna make a comparison, which I'm not supposed to do, but just like you would go to Netflix.com and stream, you'd go to WeTheStudios.com and stream.
Got it.
They have a We the Studios app, so you can watch right from your phone, right from a tablet. It's their own platform.
Nice.
Yeah, and we've got some really big conservative stars casting and producing more series, and you can go subscribe now for $17.76, and all the episodes drop September 3rd.
Okay, cool.
And then you can start watching shows.
So it's like a competitor to Ben Shapiro's network almost?
I would say no because it's not political.
Oh, it's not?
No, it's literally not. Like you're going to watch a cooking show, and if you didn't know that, let's say I was political, there would be nothing political in it.
Oh, okay.
It's just, I'm just watching TV. There's no message. It's not talk shows about politics per se. It's just like watching a reality show, but without half naked women and they're all sleeping together. And so it's just TV without weird stuff. As a parent, you don't want to turn on a streaming service and leave the room because you have no idea what your kids are going to see.
Right.
With this, it's like you can turn it on, leave the room, and you know that your kids aren't going to see something they shouldn't. Yeah, just
love that.
good old-fashioned wholesome content.
That's how it used to be, I feel like.
Yeah.
Do you let your kids watch Disney movies?
No.
Really?
No. And not because I think that they're going to subliminally see something. We know that there's some weird messaging in Disney, but I just don't want to support them. So if we get a Disney movie sent to us for free, I'll screen it. And if it's good and wholesome, maybe they can watch it.
Right.
But I won't spend my money on Disney.
That makes sense.
Yeah. I won't
So is
support
that your process with movies and shows for your kids? You have to first watch it and then vet it out?
Yep.
Because that's pretty tedious. Is that scalable?
It is. So there's some movies I'll go look up reviews first and then I'll watch it with them. And if there's one teeny tiny freaking thing, I just turn it off and we say, sorry, there's something in here you guys can't see. Right. And maybe I have to owe them an explanation or maybe not, but we've done pretty good.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's super important though, because some parents just give their kids iPads and they're on YouTube and sites watching random videos.
No, my 10-year-old has a computer in his room. He is only able to access his math game at school. That's it. No YouTube, no Facebook, internet. No internet.
Wow.
He can only go to that one website.
It's
just too scary what's out there. You could Google something, the wrong word, and then Google feeds you stuff they weren't supposed to see. And
right.
Yeah.
So no social media for your kids?
No phones. Nope.
No phones. So
well, they're 10, 7, and 4.
Okay.
But the 10-year-old, of course, he already wants a phone. And his classmates, some of them have phones. And I'm like, nope, not going to happen. And even if we do, it would be there's games on it and you can make phone calls. And that's it.
Right. The old school one with the keyboard.
Yeah, and that's not going to be for years and years and years.
I didn't get one until high school, which was pretty late. But actually, I'm fortunate for that. Yeah. So I got to actually be a child. Go outside,
exactly.
Touch grass.
Yeah. They already want to play their little math game on the computer. They already want to play Like when I make reels on Instagram, oh, show me. I'm like, they're drawn to, being entertained. The last thing I want to do is put something in their hand where they're not looking around the world, at the world around them. They're not making friends. They're not socializing. They're not walking down the street like this,
Yeah.
It's really hard because I am a social media influencer. So like my work is on my phone or it's on the computer. As an entrepreneur, I'm like often on a device, but I don't want that for my kids, especially at childhood. It's one thing to have to be on a device for work as an entrepreneur and an influencer. But I don't ever want to be that person that's just walking down the street looking at my screen.
Same.
I want to have human interaction the way God intended.
100%.
Yeah.
Lindsey, it's been awesome. Where can people find you, find your shows coming up, and keep in touch with you?
So We The Studios is wethestudios.com. My website is patriotbarbie.com. And I am most active on Instagram at the.patriot.barbie.
Cool. We'll link below. Thanks for coming on.
Thank you so much.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Thanks for watching, guys. Check out our stuff below, and I'll see you next time.